to Beast TV. What was that? You better get a fresh dip and buckle up.
All right, folks. I don't know. We're having some technical difficulty. I'm not sure that Mark's mic is still working, but we're going to start this again because we didn't want all that stuff on the video of Ryan. Tonight's guest is Ryan White, and he is associated with the North Canadian River Project. He is also the Squatch Ranger on YouTube. And Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I just want to say it's an honor for being invited on your show, and this is a great experience and opportunity, and I'm glad to be here.
Well, this is like a rerun, but we're going to try again, Ryan. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and any hobbies you may have.
Okay, yeah, sure. So I'm just a regular family guy. I'll start out talking about my family. I've got 3 kids. I've got a 3-year-old son, a 7-year-old daughter, and a 14-year-old stepdaughter. And my 3-year-old son, he is a gamer. He likes to play video games. He plays a game called Roblox, and he plays a game called Minecraft on my phone or his mom's phone. He's always stealing our phones and playing video games, and he can play those video games way better than I could imagine. So he's pretty cool like that. He's also going to be my future Bigfoot partner. He's going to go out and we'll probably go camping out when he gets a little bit older. When we're driving in the car and he sees trees next to the highway, he'll point out the window and say, "Daddy, look, Bigfoot." And so I say, "Yeah, buddy, there's Bigfoot out there. He lives out there. That's right." And then if I'm sitting around watching a Bigfoot documentary and he sees a Bigfoot like cartoon generated Bigfoot or whatever in the documentary, he gets all excited. He goes, "Daddy, Bigfoot, Bigfoot." And anyway, he'll want to watch Bigfoot for the rest of the night. And even if I'm watching a different TV program, he comes in. If he's in the Bigfoot mood, he makes me change the channel. "Daddy, let's watch Bigfoot." And so I already got him trained. He loves Bigfoot and the subject. So I must be doing something right, huh? So
That's
anyway,
right.
so he likes that. My 7-year-old daughter, she's kind of my sports athlete. She's playing soccer. She loves soccer, and she's starting basketball this year. And she's smart too. She's super bright, doing great in her classes. And then my 14-year-old, she's in a band, and she's starting color guard this year. And that, if you don't know, that's where they wave the flags as they march in front of the band. And she's learning how to do that and having a lot of fun doing that. So I have 3 great kids. I got a wife who teaches kindergarten. She's a kindergarten teacher, and right now, today was her first day of school along with my 2 daughters. It was their first day of school today, and they were super excited leaving the house this morning. Yeah. And anyway, my wife, she's right now having to go through learning how to teach online to her kids, to her students. And she already has some experience. If you look behind me here, this background, this is her background she uses. For 3 or 4 years, she's already been teaching Chinese kids in China. She teaches them English over the computer, and so she can have some really late nights because of the time difference. But that's one of her side jobs, teaching those Chinese kids English. So anyway, that's why I have this background behind me. I actually did the same thing for a couple of years. She got me signed in and signed on to it, and I did it for 2 years teaching the Chinese kids, and it was fun. It was a neat experience. But she said I was starting to get grouchy by the end of the day. She said because she was having me do the morning shift like at 5 in the morning because of the time difference. It was 5 in the morning for me, and it's like in the evening for them, like 7 o'clock in the evening or whatever the time difference is. So anyway, but I was getting up early to teach these Chinese classes, and she said I was getting to be a grouch. So she kind of asked me to step down from that. So I stepped down from doing that, but I'm also a teacher as well. I teach elementary music. I've taught for 15 years, and it can be it's a lot of fun. It can be a challenge, but it's a lot of fun. I am also going through this virtual school stuff. My school district that I teach at, we just found out this week that we're going virtual for the first 9 weeks because of the COVID-19 thing going around. So for the first 9 weeks, my school will be teaching virtually, and me and all my colleagues this whole week, we've been going in and getting a crash course on how to teach virtually. And anyway, I'm going to back up now and go to the earlier part of my life. I grew up in a very tiny community in northwest Oklahoma. If you can visualize the map of Oklahoma and you visualize the long arm of Oklahoma, that's called the Panhandle. I'm from the armpit of Oklahoma. We call that the armpit. I'm from a small community from the armpit. Our population is 6,000 to 7,000 people. The geography is very, very flat. So just visualize like the whole state of Kansas or even like Nebraska, very, very flat, wheat fields as far as the eye can see. That's kind of where I'm from. If you just turn around in a 360-degree circle, everywhere you look, you're going to see the horizon and not very many obstacles in between you and the horizon. I mean, it's just flat, and it's just an area that's not known for being forested. There's not forests, there's not trees. It's just flat farmlands. So growing up, there was no stories, passed down about Bigfoot in my area. I mean, we didn't have stories like that. Some people might come on and say, I grew up in a wooded area, and we always heard the stories of the booger man or whatever. We didn't have that in my area. That was not an option. So anyway, that's kind of how I grew up. And then when I got to be in college, I became a music major, and I thought I was going to be in a rock and roll band for the rest of my life and tour in a rock band. And so that's why I became a music major. I was in I've been in several bands, rock bands, Christian bands, all kinds of stuff. I play drums, I sing, play guitar. Getting a little bit older after college, I've kind of become a songwriter, and I write songs just for myself on the side, just for fun. I did record an album in 2011 in a professional studio in Oklahoma City, and I did put out an album. Anyway, so that was kind of a fun time in my life. So anyway, I still write on the side and produce music here and there just for fun. It's just kind of a hobby. And anyway, that's a little bit about myself. So
that's pretty cool. Man, I've been trying to learn to play the guitar, and I haven't made it past the G chord yet. So
well, that's all right. You get the G chord down, and then you can move on to the next level.
Yeah. Hey. It's kind of rough. I got these little fat fingers, and that age really tough for me.
Yeah. You'll get it.
I wanted to ask the audience if they can hear me.
Yeah. Hoosier said he heard Mark. So there you go. You're back in.
Lucky Larry.
Lucky Larry. Lucky Red.
I'll tell you what. It sure don't pay to have an imbecile trying to run a podcast and know IT stuff. So,
well, we're going to get you into a school on IT things.
Okay. Well, Larry, I guess I'll just let you ask the next question.
All right, Ryan.
Okay.
What got you interested in Bigfoot coming from the barren wastelands of the wheat fields of northwest Oklahoma?
Well, I was probably 14 or 15 years old, and I was just channel surfing, watching TV, and came across Discovery Channel. And every time I would see a program about Bigfoot, I would stop on that channel. I've always been fascinated with mysterious stuff, Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, Egyptian pyramids, anything that was kind of mysterious. I always was kind of fascinated to watch a program like that. And Bigfoot was always my favorite. I mean, I liked Loch Ness Monster, okay, but Bigfoot was definitely my favorite. And so I was probably 14 or 15 years old, and there was a documentary on. It had Jeff Meldrum, of course. He was showing his huge, Bigfoot footprint cast library. I mean, he has a whole bunch of them, like 200 plus casts. And so, I mean, I was like, whoa, that is so cool. I mean, all these Bigfoot casts, I mean, that's some evidence right there. And immediately watching this program, I'm open-minded to this subject, this topic. I mean, even on that program, they talked about skeptics and people not believing the evidence, but I was just blown away. I was just like, wow, this is so cool. And then, I mean, it showed the Patterson-Gimlin film, and that had me. And then what was hook, line, and sinker on that same program, they had a guy named Jimmy Chilcutt, and he is a FBI fingerprint expert. And he came on that program, and he said that he was on that program, and he even made the comment. I was watching TV one night, kind of like me, and he said, I saw Dr. Meldrum's Bigfoot footprints, and I had to go observe him, because he was also an expert in primate fingerprints. On the program, it said he was like one of 3 to 5 people in the world that were experts in primate fingerprints. And so he was a skeptic, and he wanted to go in and look at all these footprints of Dr. Meldrum's, and he wanted to, I guess, prove that they were fake or whatever. He just wanted to look at them. And so he gets to examining them, and the more that he examined, he just was more convinced. And on that program, he made a comment to the effect of he was looking at 2 different prints that were 20 years apart, and they were hundreds of miles apart, and they had the same dermal ridge flow pattern. And I mean, nobody could fake that unless they had like his kind of knowledge of that. Right. I mean, it just couldn't be faked. And so that comment right there, I mean, that was hook, line, and sinker for me. And so ever since, I've loved the topic of Bigfoot. I went on to college and lived life. And then after college, I got married. Didn't really think about Bigfoot much, but I mean, it was in the back of my head, and I liked it. And then, one Halloween, my wife, she bought me a Bigfoot costume for Halloween. And so I dressed up as Bigfoot, and I'm a grown man, and it became the best Halloween I've ever had in my life, even better than when I was a kid. Everywhere I went that Halloween, everybody wanted to come take their picture with Bigfoot. I posed for pictures. People were, pointing and looking at Bigfoot, and it was just an awesome Halloween. So from there, it kind of sparked that, hey, I should do like kids' birthday parties and kind of be an entertainer out of this. Like, I kind of was kind of a natural at it, I guess. So I started doing kids' Bigfoot birthday parties. People would call me up to go to like a teenager's campfire type party thing, and do a prank on them. So I've done a couple of those type things. I've done parades. I've done events. Somebody hired me once to be Bigfoot at Oktoberfest and walk around while they were drinking and partying, and they just wanted a Bigfoot to follow them around. So, hey, I did it. I've been invited to do a bachelorette party as Bigfoot. And so that, that was interesting. So I did that.
We may have questions about that.
Do what?
We may have questions about that later.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was a good time. It was fun. There were some good ladies, lots of fun. So anyway, I started doing that and getting into that. And then I heard about this festival in Southeast Oklahoma called the Honubby Bigfoot Festival and Conference. Yeah. And so I contacted them, and I was like, man, I would really like to go down there and perform and walk around and just be a Bigfoot mascot for them. So I contacted them, and I said, I'd like to come down if I could. Would that be okay? And they said, yeah, we'd love to have you. So I came down there one year and had a blast, walked around, met people, and posed for big pictures as Bigfoot, and did my thing. And I ended up meeting the president. Well, the president of a group that I'm in called the NOBRO, Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization. But at the time, we didn't have that group yet. But I met the president, and he actually did expeditions, weekend expeditions. And so I kind of became friends with him. And over time, I went to a couple of his Bigfoot expeditions and kind of learned, what to look for out there, and kind of some different things that you can do. And just, it's just like camping out. And the Bigfoot thing is just an extra to the camp out, we're a bunch of guys having fun camping out, but the Bigfoot's just an extra thing that, we enjoy. So anyway, we would do that. And I met him, and I just got more and more involved. Like I was thinking to myself, I want to do more than just be the Bigfoot entertainer and wear the costume. I want to like help research, and I want to apply my talents and do a little bit more. And so it slowly developed into me making a YouTube channel and putting out videos, and doing like a little podcast type thing that I do now. We can talk about that more later, but that's kind of my story. On one of the expeditions, the second one I went on, this probably was around 2015. Me and the expedition leader, we were hiking on a trail, and we were actually divided up into 3 different groups, and we had walkie-talkies. And for some reason, we wanted to intercept or meet up with this other group on this other trail. So we cut through the woods, and we weren't on a trail at all. So we were cutting through, and bushwhacking and what all. And it's pitch black, it's dark out, and he had to stop and take a leak. So I stopped, and he was taking his leak, and it's dark, and he starts going to the bathroom, and it was just a couple seconds later, and we start hearing these footsteps, and they're running right towards him. And in my mind, I just thought, okay, this is a deer. We scared this deer. It was out here, and this deer is like running at us, I guess. And so I got behind him because I don't want to get trampled by a deer, because that's just automatically what I thought. And anyway, he kind of got his walkie-talkie, which kind of had a little light. It's not a flashlight, but it had a little bit of a light to it. And he was trying to kind of shine it up there, and he was trying to pull his pants up, and because he was in the middle of his business. And this thing, whatever it was, ran right at us, and then it cut to our right, and we just heard the footsteps just keep running, and it just vanished. We never saw it. I never saw it. But we heard the footsteps. I think it was on 2 legs. It was very interesting. It was definitely an adrenaline rush. It could have been a possible bluff charge. I'm still kind of undecided about it. Our expedition leader, he thinks that it was a juvenile doing a bluff charge on us, and I can definitely go with that. But since I didn't lay eyes on it, I at this point I want to say undecided. But that was definitely an adrenaline awesome experience. So had a possible bluff charge. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, that's kind of how I've gotten into where I'm at now. So
that's an awesome story.
Thank you.
And before we get too deep into these expeditions, I would like for you, I'd like to focus a little bit of our time on your YouTube channel. Because Ryan, you have almost 100 videos on there, and after the show, I am going to pin the link to Ryan's YouTube. He's got a website, a Facebook page, and we're going to pin those to the top of the comment section so that you can go and check out Ryan's material, because it's pretty awesome stuff. I have really enjoyed watching the YouTube channel. So just tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Thank you. Yeah, so the YouTube channel is called Squatch Ranger. And like I was saying earlier, how I wanted to use some kind of talents that I had and put it into this phenomenon of Bigfoot and research. And so, what I'm good at is recording music and kind of editing audio, stuff like that for music tracks. So it kind of slowly developed into me. I kind of have an artsy part of my brain, I guess. The left part of my brain is kind of artsy. So the expedition leader, he invited me to bring a camera for one of the expeditions. So I brought one, and I was, shooting everything we were doing, and it kind of came into I was editing video, and that kind of just was really fun to me. I enjoy it. I enjoy editing the videos and putting them together. And so after that weekend that I went out there and shot some video, I just did more and more and more. And I try to get involved with different groups and go out on little day hikes or whatever, day events where we go out for just a day or a weekend camp out and video that and piece together the video and edit it and make a nice little documentary style video. So that's kind of how that happened. Another thing is one of the things I love about the whole Bigfoot phenomenon is the eyewitness reports. I love hearing Bigfoot stories. I love hearing people tell their story. I mean, that's just one of my favorite things. So what I did was I started this podcast type show on my YouTube channel. I call it Squatch Ranger Files. And how the format of that show is, what I do is I try to produce it with some kind of creepy music in the background, and it's just a storytelling. It's a legitimate Bigfoot report. It's not just a story, but these are legitimate Bigfoot reports, and I show maps. I show what county it came from. I show, I'll show a Google snapshot of the river or the lake or wherever it was near. So I'm putting things, visual things, as I'm narrating their story. I'm the narrator, and so I narrate their Bigfoot reports. I read them, and then I put I guess I kind of laugh about it. One of what I think is one of the funny things about the show is I always will put a little Bigfoot graphic of when the eyewitness sees the Bigfoot. I put a Bigfoot graphic of a Bigfoot, and I try to kind of capture what they saw through a little graphic. And sometimes they might look kind of corny. I don't know. That's just kind of the I don't know what the word I'm trying to say is, just the highlight of the show, I guess. I don't know. Sometimes they can be corny, but I like it. I think it just kind of gives a good visual element as the story's progressing, that they kind of see the Bigfoot as it appeared to them. I mean, it's not exactly probably what they saw. I'm just trying to capture something visually for the audience to look at as they're listening to the story. So I put together this show called Squatch Ranger Files, and I just love it because I love hearing Bigfoot reports and where it happened and documenting where it happened. And that show got me into a database that I've started on my website. You can click on a link or a little thing on the sidebar, database, Bigfoot sightings database in my website. And you can actually go through there and read tons of Bigfoot reports. I collect them from all over the country. But since I'm in Oklahoma, I get mostly Oklahoma reports, but I am open to getting them anywhere in the country. And I have some from Alaska and Maine and Arizona, California, Florida, one from Kansas. I mean, all over. I guess it's kind of my goal to get every state except for probably Hawaii, since that's the one state that we don't have a actual Bigfoot sighting from. But yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool if I could get the database at least one sighting from every state eventually.
Yeah, that would be cool. Well, you've talked a little bit about your website. Do you have anything you want to add about that, or your Facebook page?
Yeah, I'll add to that. The website actually started when I was doing the Bigfoot entertaining thing and dressing up as Bigfoot. It was a place for people to go, and they could find me and they could hire me to come do their kid's birthday party and that kind of thing. And just recently over the summer, I was thinking to myself, people probably aren't taking me seriously as a Bigfoot entertainer dressing up as Bigfoot. I don't think I'm not a hoaxer. This is just entertainment for kids and stuff like that. But I don't think people are probably taking me too seriously as a researcher or whatever. So I kind of revamped my website over the summer, and I still do have the Bigfoot where you can hire me to dress up as Bigfoot, but I put more more info on there about my research and stuff like that on the website. So it kind of does two things in one, I guess. Maybe I should have two separate websites, but I don't know. I just like keeping them on one. So it serves two different purposes. You can hire me to dress up as Bigfoot, or you can get on there and contact me about a actual Bigfoot sighting you had, or if you want to invite me to come out there and film somewhere, if you've had activity and research out there, it serves those purposes. So definitely, if you're in Oklahoma and you're watching, or Arkansas, or maybe maybe up in Kansas or something, somewhere halfway close, I could travel there, you know contact me. Or if you just want to share your story and you're far away, contact me. I'd love to hear from you.
I think that's a great thing as far as getting children involved in the interest of Bigfoot. It's like carrying the neighborhood kids to Vacation Bible School, and it really sparks their imagination. And I love it when different groups have special events for the children at a conference. I just think it's a great thing to do, and I've really enjoyed reading your Class 8 Bigfoot sightings on your database, because it goes into great detail, and I'm one to think that it has value to read a eyewitness account and see if there is a way to connect the dots with different sightings, that you might be able to apply that to your own tactics or strategies in the field. Larry and I really appreciate the research that Kurt Stanley and Evans Bailey, and that's how we found out about your involvement with the North Canadian River Project. Ryan, paint for us a picture of what it's like to go out in the field with the NCRP.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to start out and say that I met Kurt and Evans through the Honobi Bigfoot Festival. That's where I met those guys. So I mean, that festival has just been so great. I've met such great people and made such great contacts, and that's what it's all about, going to those festivals. And that's kind of what got me hooked up with them. And so, yeah, when you go out with the North Canadian River Project, we're going to be focusing on the North Canadian River. If you know Oklahoma, they're based in the Oklahoma City area, which is central Oklahoma, and they're also based kind of in El Reno, which is maybe a little bit northwest of Oklahoma City. And so what we do, or what they've established through their group, is we get down on the river, and they love to search the sandbars of the rivers, the riverbanks. They love to look for prints or tracks. So when you go out with them, be ready to hike, be ready to go searching and looking in the riverbanks, and look for the tracks, look for anything disturbed in the grass. I mean, that they get down and they get going, and we do anything from a day hike, just hiking around during the day and maybe go hit a couple of different spots along the river, or we do a weekend camp out and set up a base camp and make sounds all night long, and we set our recorders out along the river. And Kurt likes to call them river apes, so we wait around for those river apes to make themselves known to us, and so yeah, it's a fun time.
When y'all go out, what kind of instrumentation do y'all take out in the field? Like audio recorders or plot watchers, or kind of talk to us about that.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, we set out audio recorders overnight. We do that. We also have a trail cam that we try to set up, and you probably know, as anybody knows, that, trail cams, they probably don't work, but we're still going to set it up and try anyway. We've got some cool footage on a trail cam, something kind of mysterious behind it. We got a deer one time on a trail cam, and it looked like something kind of tall was up behind that deer, and you see the deer jerk its head, and you can see some eyes or something like up in the top right corner of the video, and then they kind of drop. That was kind of an interesting video. So yeah, we have the trail cam. We take our video. I have 2 video cameras that I take for day, and then one that I do at night for night vision. I have night vision binoculars that record video. I have night vision monocular. Evans has a FLIR. One of our members, he has this really awesome night vision, well, actually a FLIR setup. He took this old car part, I think it was a Cadillac, some kind of Cadillac car, and that old Cadillac actually had night vision inside the car. I don't know how old that car was, maybe from the 90s or something, but he found it in a junkyard, and he took that night vision from that car and he put it up on a tripod, and he hooks it up to a little monitor that he has, like a little old DVD player, and he has a pan and tilt, and he can just tilt that old car camera around, and I mean, man, it shows a great picture, and we can really do some awesome night vision watching with that thing. And you can actually see that in one of my YouTube videos. I think it's The Return to Area 3. North Canadian River Project, The Return to Area 3. He explains what it is better than what I'm explaining, and you can actually, we show you the footage of some of the stuff it captured. It's awesome to take out on some of our campouts, and I want to take it on more campouts. So those are some typical things, equipment that we use. I'm trying to think. I think there was one more thing I was going to mention, but I've forgotten. So that's basically what we use.
Go ahead, Larry.
Well, go ahead with what you were going to say. You're the one that couldn't be heard there for 10 minutes.
Is your throat getting dry?
No.
Well, yeah, we kind of we have found some success with using plot watchers, and so that's one thing that we do implement out in the field, because they don't use an IR light. And I did watch the video on your YouTube channel about using that thermal and off that Cadillac, and it was probably for something at nighttime for backing up that you could actually see, and it just really amazes me at the ingenuity of different researchers that are out there, and something clicks and they think about something that you can use out in the field. I know I can't even walk into a Dollar Tree without looking and saying, I could use this when I go camping this weekend. So
Nice.
So, but with this being a hobby, I mean, that's just something that you're always looking to maybe tweak your strategy just a little bit, something that might give you an advantage out in the field. Okay, your turn, Larry.
Well, my turn. I'm supposed to ask about the thermal footage that Kurt Stanley captured. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so we went camping kind of right after this COVID-19 stuff started, and we had been planning this camp out for a couple months, and then COVID-19 really hit, and we had our hearts setting on going camping, and we were gonna have, like, I think it started out maybe around 6 guys were gonna go, and it kind of dwindled down to just 3 of us went because everybody was kind of looking out for family members in the house and stuff like that, and they didn't want to be around, people, because some of us had never met before that were going to go camping, and so we just some of these guys stayed home. They have wives that are sick and stuff like that, and they wanted to respect their wives, respect family members, stuff like that. But Kurt and me, and then one of our other members, his name's Chris, our hearts were set on it. We had to go camping in the middle of the beginning of COVID-19 before we really knew a whole lot about it or what was going down. So anyway, we went on this camp out March, I think it was, March 27th. And so that was a Friday, and I actually was not there yet. I showed up the next day on Saturday. But Kurt and Chris, Kurt was they set up base camp, they set up their tents and got their chairs and everything, and it got to be sundown, and they're kind of sitting down relaxing, and Kurt was kind of teaching Chris how to use the FLIR and the night, and they had another night vision on there, and that they took with them, and he was kind of showing them how to use both, and they decided that their strategy for the night was they were going to go silent. They weren't going to talk, and they were just going to sit there around the campfire, and they were just going to take both the FLIR and the night vision monocular, and they were just going to scan the area. And so if they had to talk or communicate, they would communicate through hand signals, like, look over there, hey, look over that way, And so they did that, I guess, for a couple hours, and it paid off, because Chris, he kind of became our spotter of the weekend. He was the guy that was spotting stuff first before Kurt or me. He would always be the guy like, oh, look over there, I see something. He was like a sharp eye. He would see everything. So anyway, he got Kurt's attention on these figures that you're seeing in the video, I hope, right now. And so Kurt, showed him how to press record, and Kurt got it and pressed record and started getting this footage. And the original footage is like 3.5 minutes long. On my YouTube video, for editing purposes and stuff like that, I probably showed 30 to 45 seconds of the footage. So there's more footage than what I showed on my video on the YouTube channel. And Kurt still has all of the footage. So anyway, what happened was they kind of saw these two figures, and it looked like they were kind of bobbing up and down, I guess. And the area where they were kind of in a drawl, I guess is what you'd call it. They were kind of like peeking, like they were bent over, kind of down in this drawl. And Kurt, he was looking through there, and he thinks that he was seeing like a little head bopping up. So he was starting to think this is a mother, and she has a baby, and this baby little river ape is popping up and down, and he thinks he saw that shape when he was looking through the FLIR. So you can watch the FLIR, you can see the footage yourself, and you can be your own judge of what you think it is. It was definitely interesting. Well, 2 days later, I did a recreation. I went to the spot where we thought they were, the first draw from base camp, and I did a recreation, and I seemed to be a little bit bigger than the creatures. But then, come to find out, through trial and error and all this, there was a second draw, like, I don't know, 10, 15 yards back. And we think that that's where they were. And so we think that even their head was about my size, but they're 15 yards back, and their head was about my size in the recreation, or so. They have to be bigger than me. So if going off that information, so I mean, that's just interesting. And it was just it was hard for me to crouch down. I was having to crouch down really low to get my head in the same position where they were. So I'm thinking that since I was having to crouch down so low, it just doesn't seem like it would be a deer, because a deer would be popped up taller. So I don't think it was a deer. So anyway, it's just interesting footage. You'll have to watch it yourself and see what you think. Your audience can watch, but we think we got some really unique footage there. So
what I thought was really interesting is at the beginning of the footage, a coon just starts going in a normal pace, and then all of a sudden that coon stops. And it's almost like he senses something. And then he kind of starts booking it a little bit to get out of the way. And so whether if it was what was on that other berm or if it was y'all, it did notice that there was something there, and it needed to get out of the area because it was just kind of slowly trotting along, and then just all of a sudden just took off, and it was out of sight.
Yeah. And for people that don't know, like my wife and my kids, they see a raccoon and they think they're just a cute little cuddly thing. And, a raccoon's not a cute, cuddly little thing that you want to just go up and start petting. I mean, they can get pretty vicious.
Yeah.
If they want.
I've seen them kill a dog before out coon hunting.
Yeah.
So they're nothing to play with.
Right.
Okay, Ryan, why don't you tell us about your association with the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization?
Okay, yeah, sure. So yeah, back when I was doing the first time when I did the Honabi Bigfoot conference and I was the Bigfoot mascot and I was dressed up, I met a gentleman named Troy Hudson. And he's in charge. He's on the Honabi Bigfoot committee, and he helps out with the Bigfoot Festival every year. He plays a major role, and he also on the side he does these Bigfoot expeditions, which I explained earlier that I went on some Bigfoot expeditions with him and got to know him, and eventually I was invited into the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization, or NOBRO. We like to call it NOBRO, NOBRO. So anyway, it was founded by tribal people. We have about 39 tribes in Oklahoma, and we have tribal members that are a part of the Choctaw, the Creek, and the Cherokee. So that's where the native part comes from. We have people that have native culture in there. You don't have to be Native American to get to be in the group, but that's just kind of how it's formed, was from people of those backgrounds. And the way that it used to kind of be was to get in the group, what would happen was you would have to go with Troy, go on one of his Bigfoot expeditions. He would get to know you over the weekend, and slowly over time, form a friendship and a bond with our group. And then you kind of slowly just kind of got invited to be in the group if you were interested in doing more research with us. Well, we've kind of changed that this past summer. We've kind of made it not more strict, but we've just set some standards, I guess, to get into the group. And so this summer we actually started a class. We actually had a weekend training. So for some new people wanting to join the group, over this COVID-19, we've had some sightings come in, and we'll report it on our Facebook page. And I mean, we've just gotten a lot of buzz. I mean, people are just so interested about these reports we'll put out on that Facebook page. And we have people saying, how can I be a part of your group? I want to get into this. I want to be in the group. And so we've had a lot of interest from these Facebook posts. And so we set it up to where, okay, we're going to have a training weekend. And if someone really does want to join our group, they need to go through this course. And so back, it was Father's Day weekend. We went down to Honabi, where we have the conference, the same property where we hold the conference. And we had several of our members of our group teach different classes. And I was asked to teach forensic photography, since I'm kind of the camera guy. I just became the cameraman, and I'm, always filming everything. So I put together a little presentation about forensic photography and just different things, different equipment you might want to use, different strategies and stuff like that. And I taught my course, and then one of our members taught a Bigfoot casting class on how to, successfully, cast a print. and that was a great presentation. Kurt, he was a teacher. Kurt Stanley, he was invited to do kind of investigative techniques, stuff that he's used in the past with the North Canadian River Project. So he taught a class, and then we had a gentleman by the name of Harvey Pratt, a very well-known Native American name in Oklahoma and nationally. He's actually a forensic artist, and he will talk to eyewitnesses, and off their testimony, he'll draw and come up with a sketch of Bigfoot. And so we got to listen to him. He really did his class on Native culture and interviewing techniques of witnesses. And so that was a very big treat and a very big honor to have him be a part of our weekend.
That's really interesting. And I think that it does the community good to have these kind of seminars. And so many groups out there, they feel like that that they have so many secrets and they don't want to share them. Tell us what the difference is with going out with the NCRP and the NOBRO. Or do you see any correlations? Do you see differences? And how has those differences and learning things from different groups help you to grow as a researcher?
Yeah, sure. Okay. The NOBRO, they one of the things they found over time is, you might have more success if you just don't use technology at all. And so, we might go a weekend and don't use video cameras. Definitely don't use, any kind of devices. Don't set out your game cameras. Just don't use technology. Don't use flashlights. Sit around a campfire, just sit there, talk, and they're probably, if you do that every time in the same place in Honubby where we do a lot of our expeditions, over time they're going to be more trusting, and you might get more sightings because they're just getting more comfortable, getting a little bit closer and closer, not using the technology. So that's kind of a thing that NOBRO does, an approach. And North Canadian River Project, we like to use technology. We like to get the FLIR out. We like to take that chance and possibly get a Bigfoot. Now, are we going to trick one? Maybe not. Maybe never. But we definitely want to use the technology and look around. And we even have, you're going to have to help me out. We have one of those microphones with the
parabolic.
Thank you.
Parabolic
Yes, the parabolic mic. Yes, thank you. We have a parabolic mic, and we're listening in all directions, and we're using we love and welcome the technology. So I mean, and we sometimes we find tracks, which we'll talk about probably here in a little bit. And it's good to have that technology to document tracks and stuff you find and show the measurements and all that kind of stuff. Take pictures. So we welcome the technology side of it. And then NOBRO, they're taking a more old school approach, and that might possibly, it makes them more comfortable to come in and take a look at you, and then you can kind of get a little bit closer encounter.
Well, Ryan, why don't you tell us about what happened at the Stinchcombe Wildlife Refuge with you and Evans?
Okay, yeah. So this was supposed to be a kayaking event. The North Canadian River Project, we, for a long time, several years now, we've wanted to get out on the river, go kayaking down the North Canadian River, and somewhere up northwest of Oklahoma City, and make our way down to Stinchcombe, and along the way, if we see a sandbar that we can't access from the road because it's on somebody's private property, or we can just stop in those kayaks and look at these sandbars that we just don't have access to from from the road or from our vehicles, because you can't get back there because it's a lot of those places are private property along the way. So we were wanting to do a kayaking event that this day. Well, we got rained out that week. It was so rainy and cold. Our kayaking event did not take place. So even on my YouTube channel, the video is called Stinchcombe Wildlife Refuge Revamped. And that's why, because it was supposed to be a kayaking trip. So we ended up just going hiking in Stinchcombe, and we went on a day hike. And like I said, it was raining that day. It was wet, muddy conditions, probably temperatures in the lower 40s, a little bit of wind. It was cold and breezy and wet. And, we put our ponchos on and our boots, and it was me and Evans. And then we had another young lady with us that went hiking with us. That's part of the NCRP. And so we did a day hike. And so we started out on the trails, and we were walking around the trails. One of those pictures, you can see that it's the river. The riverbank is so muddy, and you can see Evans pointing at these prints in the riverbank, and they were very interesting. I mean, we were just like, okay, it's been in the 40s or less all week and raining. If this is a person, why are they walking around barefoot in this cold mud? The water's going to be cold. I mean, it's early. It's early spring. I mean, it's not hot yet. It hadn't gotten super hot. I mean, it's cold. And so that was interesting. And then we got off the trails, and we got up on the access road, the boundary road of the whole park. And Stinchcombe Wildlife Refuge is about 1,000 acres. And I showed you a graphic. And I don't know if you're putting it up there on the screen right now, that little map of the park, but it shows you along that white access road or boundary road. I put on there the line of tracks and about how far and how many well, not how many, but just approximately how far those tracks that we found on that access road were going back. It was amazing. We just got on that access road and started walking, and then Evans, he's got a great eye. He found a track. Well, we found another one, and there's oh my gosh, it's a trackway. Yeah. And I mean, it went somewhere between a quarter of a mile to half a mile on that access road in the mud. We were getting in the mud and getting up next to a print and trying to sink our boot down and trying to sink as far as those footprints were. And we were not getting as deep as those footprints. And it was muddy that day, and it was raining. And I mean, we couldn't get anywhere close to how far those footprints sunk in. And so that was interesting. And we guessed that they were probably 8 inches. So we thought maybe it was a juvenile, something like that. But later on, we finally got our rulers out, and we measured them, and they were 10 inches. So they were a little bit bigger than what we thought. But yeah, probably a juvenile size. And I mean, you can see the footprints in the pictures. I hope you're showing them. That was a really cool day. And that was March 2018 when we did that. That was probably one of the most fun day trips I've ever been on, because not only did we find all those footprints, and it's on my video I made, and we documented and we took pictures. We measured the footprints, and they were consistently 10 inches. Every footprint we would measure 10 inches. I mean, the same individual is walking. And I mean, it was, like I said, quarter of a mile to half a mile, somewhere in between there, of these footprints in the mud. Another thing I want to point out is nobody was in the park that day. Nobody else but us. There's 3 of us. The reason I know that is there's a parking lot, and it was only our vehicles in the parking lot. And, nobody's going to go hiking probably. Stinchcombe is a major place for people to walk their dogs or just go on a hike on a nice day. There was nobody walking their dogs that day parked in the parking lot. It was just us. We were the only ones out there. And another thing that happened on that same day was we got back in the far corner of the park, and I have these little percussion instruments. They're kind of they're made of wood, and they're called claves. You have to Google it if you don't know what they look like or what they are, but they're a percussion instrument, and you can clack them together, and it makes a very cool wood type sound. So I call them my wood knock simulators. And so I took these claves. They're really thick around too, and you have to hit them just right. You have to actually know how to hold them to get the right effect. But I gave it a couple of knocks, and we were towards the back, probably a mile back in the park. And we listened for a little bit, didn't hear anything, and so we're like, okay, it's time to walk back. So we're walking back to our vehicle, making the mile hike back, and we're getting closer to the parking lot, and we're just talking, having a conversation. All of a sudden, we hear a single knock back in the woods. So we all stop, and I get my camera on, and we get to filming, and I get the claves out, and this is on the video. It's towards the end of the video. I do a wood knock. I do a couple of knocks, and we sit there and we listen, and we get another reply, just a knock back somewhere in the woods. Nobody at this park. Nobody's there. It's just us. Woodpeckers, are they known to do single knocks? Do they just go? Do woodpeckers do that? I don't know. I don't think that's woodpecker behavior. So that, and it did it in reply to mine. And then I tried a couple more, and we did not get another response. But that was one of the coolest experiences that I've ever had. One of the best days I've ever had investigating, finding the tracks, and they were consistent trackway of 10 inches, and the wood knock reply. Very, very cool day. And it's like I said, it's called the North Canadian River Project Revamped or something like that. I can't remember the exact title, but it has revamped in the title. And it was because we were supposed to go kayaking that day, but it ended up being a great hike and a great find on those footprints.
About how many acres is Stinchcombe Wildlife Refuge?
Yeah, it's around roughly 1,000 acres.
Wow, so it's a pretty good area.
Yeah, it is. And what's funny is it is right up against Oklahoma City. It's so close to Oklahoma City. Finding Bigfoot, they actually did an episode at Stinchcombe. They I think it was season 3, episode 3, and one of our members in the North Canadian River Project, his story was featured on Finding Bigfoot, and he was kayaking. He was actually kayaking, and him and his wife, and they saw one on the riverbank as they were going through Stinchcombe on the river. They saw one at night, and actually, the Finding Bigfoot team, they actually went to his spot, and I think Bobo got in the spot, and they did the little, his height recreation and all that kind of stuff. He retold the story, and they went to the exact location and all that kind of stuff. And he ended up becoming one of our members, and he's in our group now, and that's just pretty cool. So, Stinchcombe, it is a hot place for activity, and it's just so interesting that it's right up against Oklahoma City. It's so unique. But like our whole theory is behind this North Canadian River that Kurt and Evans, established, is we think they're traveling the river, even though Oklahoma, and I talked about Oklahoma earlier where I'm from, it's flat and wheat fields and that kind of thing. They're along the river. It's very wooded, even though, Oklahoma's not known for being forested. The river is. It has woods. They can hide and have cover, and they have the river, and they have, game, coming in and out, getting access to the river. So they have some hunting there. We think that they're traveling along this river, and maybe Stinchcombe is kind of a temporary place to stay as they're traveling the river.
That's a pretty good theory. I met Kurt and Evans on my way out to New Mexico to speak at Brenda Harris's conference. And that's one thing that I saw in New Mexico, because it is, it's almost like a desert, desert mountains, but there are rivers that run through there. And where those rivers are, there's all kind of plants and trees, and it's just greenery. And that's where most of the sightings are along those rivers. So I think that's, even if you live at a place that there's not a lot of woods, then that's where I would suggest to concentrate my efforts are. And I don't know. For me, it's more an advantage. If you look at the Northwest and just millions of rainforest acres, how do you narrow things down to where you might find activity? But you go to a place
Yeah.
like that where the rivers support most of the plant and tree life. It's it it sure helps a researcher in narrowing things down.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point.
We just want to let the dog pound know that if you've got questions for Ryan, to put them in all caps, and I'm not sure who's going to be sending them to us, but we will ask Ryan any questions that anyone in the chat room might have. And I've been glancing every now and then at the chat room, and it's good to see Miss Christy Leslie back with us. Usually, I think she goes to bed early, but I don't know, Larry. She said something about wearing thongs and spandex. I don't know if I caught all of that right.
Well, you never can tell about Christy. You never know.
Well, we're so glad she's with us tonight. And so send us the questions. And one thing that me and Ryan has talked about this past week are the shortfalls of the Bigfoot community. And Ryan, I would like, we want to stay positive on this and not break our fingers off pointing at individuals or groups. But what are some of the things that you see that are shortfalls with the community?
Yeah. Coming into this, never in a million years, coming into Bigfooting, I thought, everybody, I guess I just have an innocent heart or something. I thought everybody'd get along and, everybody's cheering for each other, when, for eyewitnesses and researchers and everything. I just thought it was, a happy community, but never in a million years getting into this did I see it coming that, you get into a Bigfoot Facebook group like me and people are negative towards you. I thought we would have more camaraderie than what I'm seeing. I just, I was kind of blindsided by it myself, and yeah, I'm not going to say any names or anything like that, but I've experienced. I've over the years, I call them Bigfoot bullies, I guess. These
Yeah.
guys that you might share something, and they're going to one up you and show something better, or they're going to say you didn't do that right, or if I put a video on YouTube, they're going to make negative comments, and it's just negative stuff. And I got wide shoulders, I can take it, but I just never in a million years saw it coming that in Bigfooting people would be so competitive and kind of against each other. That's one of the things I like about the group that I'm in with No Bro and the NCRP, North Canadian River Project. And those groups, everybody has a certain talent, that's something that they're good at, and we thrive on that within the group. Me, it's just holding the camera. That's pretty
Uh-huh.
simple. Kurt, I mean, he sees things in the grass that I would never see, and he's like, "Look at this! Get the camera on there, Ryan." And I'll film it, and he'll say, look at that! That's trampled down right there. This is this and this and this. And I'm like, "Yeah, I got it, Kurt. I got it. I got the camera on it." And Evans, he's amazing at finding footprints and looking in those sandbars. I mean, he's very knowledgeable. He was a park ranger, so he knows his wildlife and he knows his stuff about on that end. So I love how we can all contribute with our little talents that we have in these groups, and we work together. And no, bro, our president, he has military training, so he can be like, look over there, did you see that over in between those trees? I'm like, I guess, yeah. Well, look over there. So I mean, we all just work together and use our talents, and I like that. But yeah, to answer your question, yeah, I see people just like I said, being competitive, or just I know more than you do, and that's fine. I have no problem admitting someone is very knowledgeable in Bigfoot. I mean, I'm not going to ever claim I know a lot, but just the approach to person, the approach, I think could be better, I guess. So
Well,
anyway, what are your thoughts?
well, I really appreciate humbleness. And I think that we can learn from anyone, no matter what their experience level is, what their knowledge level is, that everybody has a God given talent and has a piece of the puzzle that they can bring to the table. I know I just hate ugliness, and I hate bullies. And, just to give an example, there is a group out there that's got a bunch of state pages. And I saw on there where a lady recommended putting a GoPro camera on their back. So when they're walking, that it's filming what they're not looking at to see if anything might poke its head out or whatever. And this person that runs this group just tore her head off. And then the members of that group, and I call it a wolf pack mentality, they tore her up. And you think about it. Now, here is a lady that is just gotten interested in Bigfoot and thought about something that might help, but then the leader of the group just jerks her a new one, saying, we've been doing this for 20 years. Where have you been? And why not use that as an opportunity to be a mentor and say, yes, ma'am, we've been doing this. That's a great idea. And I'm thinking, if I would have been that woman's husband, I would have grabbed my car keys and say, I'll be right back. I'm driving to Oklahoma. I'm going to jerk a knot on this guy's head. But it doesn't make any sense to me that we have to be ugly. And this community just draws lines in the sand. And if one person gets mad or somebody says something 15 years ago, they just want to hold it against them and anybody that they go out with. And, you hear people talking about, well, do you think the government is covering up Bigfoot? They don't have to. We do a pretty good job of it. And with fighting and bickering and hating on each other. And I just think that we as a community, if we can come together and respect one another and try to share our knowledge and teach others and be willing to learn from others, that the learning curve of this community would just skyrocket. Larry, have you got any thoughts on that?
Oh, I grew up playing video games, and as it got online, there was always these online bullies and trolls that wanted to talk online. And some of these people make a living online just trolling people, just trying to get a rise out of them. You can make any accusation you want online. You can say whatever you want to discredit somebody, and there's no ramifications for it. I don't have time for that stuff. I'm not going to talk about nothing online.
Yeah.
But face to face, I'll talk, but not online. You can't get anywhere.
There won't be any tooth removal, will there?
Oh, no, I'm not that way.
I'm just teasing you, Larry.
No, but it's ridiculous. I mean, some of these people, their whole day is made by trolling somebody. So have at it, guys. Enjoy it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we need to get to the questions that have been sent. And again, we want to apologize at the beginning of the show with having mic problems on my end. And, I see Miss Sally Olin is the one sending us questions. So,
there you
go. Okay. Can Squatch ask, where does Ryan live at?
Yeah, I live around the Tulsa, Oklahoma area. I live in a community just north of downtown Tulsa, probably about a 20-minute drive from downtown Tulsa north. So I live Tulsa area in Oklahoma.
All right. I got to scroll through a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Were you at the Zenobia 2015 in your Bigfoot costume, Ryan?
Yes, I was.
Well, Debbie Jones took a picture with you. She was just saying.
Oh, nice. I would like her to send it in. I'd love to have it. That's awesome.
All right. Barbara Locke asked, do you play music in the field?
You know, I never have. I've thought about taking my guitar before on one of our campouts, and I almost have, but you know, that's a great question. I need to. I've thought about it, and I just, for whatever reason, I'm like, oh, I don't want to pack the guitar. Or I even have a little flutophone thing. I used to have a little Indian one that was made by a Native American, but I broke it. So I actually have a little child's kid recorder, and I'd like to take it out and play some stuff on it too. And I just never have, but that has been a thought of mine. So I do want to try that in the future. So I'm glad who I can't remember the name,
Barbara.
but I'm glad Barbara. I'm glad Barbara brought that up.
Mark's actually got some pictures of people playing flute out at the campsite.
Yep. And I will tell you now, I'm going to mention her name, and she hates it when I mention her name.
Uh-oh.
Shelley Reed has came up with some of the best ideas of doing something to maybe attract curiosity.
Yep.
She's got this thing that she spins and it makes a whirling, whistling noise. She's got that, what's it called, Larry? The Tribecan bow. And and man, it puts out this loud hum out there. And these are just great ideas to try, because I think so many times that if you're in an area where there may be boogers there, that there's just been too many witness accounts of them just spying on the campsite, and that's a great way to use that strategy to your advantage to try to get them in a little bit closer.
And we need all the help we can get.
Let's see. You just asked a question from Barbara Locke about, okay, playing.
That's right.
Okay, Tony, our buddy Tony from Fishing, Gaming, and Guitars, asked, anybody try no glow trail cams?
And any of the groups that I've been in, I'm not aware of that. So no glow trail cams. Explain what exactly that
It's
is.
not an hour light. It has a I don't know
Sensor.
what to tell you.
Well, it kind of has a sensor on it, but it's not an IR light that
Right.
it uses.
It's like a black light.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure. I don't think anybody in our groups have that, so might be something to invest in the future.
I know I have used one, especially for deer scouting, and the deer don't seem to be alerted by it like they are the IR. We have set it up in the past on some investigations like Titanium Swamp, and we didn't get pictures, but we had what we called identifying markers set beside it, like they still knew it was there and still avoided it. So
one thing that I will throw out there that we have that we really do like is plot watchers. And a plot watcher does not have any type of sensor on it. You set it up where it takes a picture. You can set it up where it takes a picture for every second, or you can go all the way up to a 20-second exposure. And that really works well at night, having that long exposure. And then the software on this plot watcher puts it into a video format where it takes all the pictures. You know, it might have taken 1,000 pictures, and it will put it up in a video format so that you can go through it and just watch the video, or you can go through it frame by frame.
So it's kind of a time lapse effect.
It absolutely is. And actually the GoPros will do that. But this is dedicated for time lapse photography. Like if you're watching a construction project where they're building a skyscraper and you see it go from ground level all the way to finish in a matter of 30 seconds. It's what they use for things like that. And it's a good tool to use out in the field.
Yeah, one of our guys does have, I think it's an older one, but it does kind of the time lapse effect, and we've used it once, and I'd like for him to come on some more trips and we use it more. So yeah, those are cool.
All right, your buddy Kurt Moser. Well, maybe you don't know Kurt. I'm thinking of Kurt Stanley. My bad. Kurt Moser asks, have you ever used drums in the woods? Because I know several people we know have used it and have heard drum type beats in the woods.
No, I never have, but I would be open to trying that if I didn't drive my partners crazy. I would be open to that. That would be pretty fun. So that's a good advice. I'd like to try that.
I tell you, our buddy Kane Michael, he made a drum, and it's very small. It's probably not 6 inches in diameter. And then I believe he took deer bones, and he made rings out of these deer bones to where he drilled holes in them. So he's got these bones on his 4 fingers on both hands. So it kind of amplifies the deer skin when he plays it. And Kane is a heck of a musician. And just to hear him sitting there playing those rhythms, it's pretty cool. And
Until Larry
sounds awesome.
Kill him.
Till what, Larry?
till Eric wants to kill him. Eric sees him get that drum out, and he's like, "Oh God, here we go."
Okay, our buddy Rob Childers, asked, has Ryan ever seen anything in the woods that he just cannot explain?
Yeah, when I was on a couple of those expeditions in southeast Oklahoma around Honubby with Troy, we, the second one I went on, several of us saw these. I guess I'm gonna say lights. I'm gonna say they were whitish, bluish tint to them, and we one explanation was it was eye shine because these lights were kind of swaying back and forth. So I mean, it could have been eye shine. I don't know. I have no idea what it was, but these lights were just over in this group of trees where some trees would be. It was pitch black, and we saw these bluish whitish lights, kind of like they were peeking around a tree maybe. So I can't explain what it was. Could have been eye shine, some other kind of light phenomenon that's going on, because the expedition after that, I saw kind of the same color lights, but they were really low to the ground, and so that's not eye shine. I don't know what that was, and I don't know why they were so low to the ground. I mean, I walked up pretty close to them, and then they disappeared. And they weren't very far from our base camp. And I have, to this day, I have no idea what was going on there. There's some weird lights every once in a while down in Honubby. We see weird lights sometimes, and so I don't have an explanation. It's just weird.
That's part of being in the woods. Sooner or later, you run into stuff you just don't know what to make of it.
Yeah.
All right. Mopar Bill asks, have you ever researched in the northeast corner of Oklahoma?
I mean, that's basically where I live, is the northeast corner. And, I've almost went out once with a friend, but my family and plans kind of got in the way, so I didn't. I've always wanted to invite our groups. They live around Oklahoma City, or even the guys that live in southeast Oklahoma, to come on up in my area and get some stuff going up here. Hasn't happened yet, but where I live, we have a lake close by, and I mean, it's very wooded, and it looks very squatchy to me. I have not heard of any Bigfoot reports around here. To my knowledge, nobody's seen one, but it looks so squatchy. I mean, on the BFRO website, pretty close to where I live, there is one report that's kind of in this area, and I mean, I can totally see him being around here. I would love to get my guys up here and do a weekend up here sometime around the lake. I just think it would be awesome. But no, I haven't yet, but it is in my future plans.
Okay. Spencer Jameson asks, what's the spookiest thing you've ever experienced in the field?
Well, that would be, I talked about it. I touched on it earlier when I was on an expedition with Troy, and we were hiking off of a trail, and he had to go to the bathroom. He had to take a leak, and I don't know if this person heard this earlier in the show, but we had a possible bluff charge from something. I mean, it came running right at Troy while he was taking a leak. Something was running at him, and I thought it was, in my mind, it just was deer. A deer's coming, and it's going to trample over us. I don't know why I thought deer, but that's just where my mind went. Pitch black. I ran and got behind Troy because I was going to let it trample over him, and then I was going to just kind of let Troy be my shield. I don't know what it was, but it ran right at him, and then it went to our right. It just kind of went, and just it faded off in the distance. I mean, the footsteps. We didn't hear breathing. We didn't hear any audible sounds. We just heard the footsteps. So, I mean, that was an adrenaline rush, and that was pretty creepy and freaky. So, yeah. That would be mine.
That's the weird thing about the experiences we have. Our mind always justifies it to something we know
Yeah.
until we just
Yeah.
can't justify it anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Eric Meschling asks, have you ever gone on a solo camp out or just with one other rather than with a group?
No, I have not. And I don't plan on going solo anytime. I like to have the camaraderie and the people around me. And no, I'm not much of a solo camper. I'm definitely going to stick with the groups that I'm with, and I like hanging out with my friends and stuff like that. So people might get more action doing that solo, but I don't think that's in the cards for me.
That's a fair answer.
Yes, it is.
Okay. This may be our last question. David Blaylock asks, do you follow or agree with David Pilates? I can't pronounce his name. I know his name. Pilates.
Yeah.
So David Pilates, he's the really well-known guy with the like the samurai chatter. Am I correct here?
No.
That's the missing 411 guy, David Pilates, the investigator.
Oh, okay.
Ron Moorhead's the one with the samurai chatter. Sierra
Gotcha.
thing.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. It's late, guys. I'm tired and my brain's not working right. Yeah. So I haven't read the book, but it can make perfect sense to me. I mean, if you made that case that that's what's going on with the missing people, I mean, I could go along with that. I mean, it doesn't sound unreasonable to me. I mean, it could very well explain a percentage of the missing people. Maybe not all of them, but definitely a percentage. So I could go along with that.
Yeah, I agree. It doesn't take but one missing person because of a booger to make it true. It may not be all of them. Larry and I can tell you there's so many things that can happen out when you're in a remote area, and you would just disappear and they would never even find your bones. But
that's the truth.
But then again, it wouldn't take but one case of someone being, what do you say, kidnapped, and so it's something that we have to look at. And it looks like we've got a couple of more questions.
Yep.
Kurt Mosier, well, he makes a statement. He says the drum works. And I'm going to tell you, Kurt is my buddy, and I'm going with Kurt. Now,
okay.
Yes, he's run all over Oklahoma too.
But
now, what about Michelle B?
I'm going to try that.
Michelle B asks, Ryan, how often do you go out looking for Bigfoot?
Yeah, I try to do at least one expedition a year or two. Being a family man, I got my family and my kids and my wife, and I have to be dedicated to them first. That's my priority. But I definitely try to go some kind of Bigfoot events or expeditions or something once to two times a year. And I've already passed that this year. I've gone over my normal quota, so about twice a year. So it's probably my average.
Uh-huh.
All right. Evans has a question for you. Evans Bailey, what are your research and project goals for the next few months? That's a good one.
Research and project goals for next few months. Well, Evans, we're going to go on that kayak trip eventually. I talked about earlier. We got rained out on that kayak trip, and so one of my goals is we're going to go kayaking, buddy. We're going to go kayaking, and gonna get that trip done. We're gonna check those sandbars along the North Canadian River.
I tell you, that's a great tool for the job. Me and Larry have implemented that into our strategies. And the last time that we went out, that's what we did was we brought our kayaks and you can just comb areas that are landlocked and people just can't walk up from a road or something like that. So I think that is a real good strategy. Now, Marquis the Farmer asked, Ryan, do the people in your groups take this stuff serious? Hang on, my phone just serious, or do they act like 8th graders? Now, what I would like to say before Ryan gives his response is, I know Kurt Stanley and Evan Spaley and how dedicated they are with the North Canadian River Project. So I've got to check that off as just top quality researchers. And also Troy Hudson with the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization is they're doing fantastic work out there. Ryan's already touched on that they do training classes and go out in the field and does the Hanobi conference. So my hat's off to them too. So I'll just let you chime in, Ryan, with your response.
Yeah, I mean, everybody in our close-knit group, we take it very seriously. Now, we're guys out in the woods having a fun time. We're enjoying what we do, and are we gonna like joke around, have fun? Of course. So I mean, we're not being 8th graders, I wouldn't say, but we have a sense of humor. We're enjoying each other's company. But we're out there. We're looking for stuff. We're looking for signs. We're into it all the way. So, and thank you for the compliments on the groups, by the way.
Well, we have a lot of respect for them, and
Yes, sir.
Wish more people would follow in their footsteps.
No doubt. All right, Ryan. Root Beer Fizz wants you to talk about, do you think your son will be a Bigfoot researcher?
Well, if you didn't hear earlier in the program, yeah, I think he's hooked. I think I've definitely got him trained to like Bigfoot. You know, some people, they have their kids cheering for sports teams and stuff like that, and I got them cheering for Bigfoot right now. So definitely.
You've got a lot of adventures to come, that's for sure.
I can't wait. It'll be fun.
Yes, sir.
Well,
hey, I'm gonna go ahead and you told me earlier in talking to kind of give you guys a signal or whatever. So I need to be probably wrapping it up whenever we can. I'm doing this politely,
Okay. Well, I tell you what, Ryan, we will just let you give us your final comments, and then you can just go ahead and sign off.
Okay, thank you. I hope I wasn't being too forward or something, but
Oh, sorry.
I'm getting the signal from my wife. We gotta get these kids to bed. They got school tomorrow. So, yeah. Final thoughts. I have a Squatch Ranger Facebook page. I'd love you to go give it a like. I give updates, pictures, posts, links to my YouTube channel on there. I'd appreciate you to go check that out. I've got the YouTube channel. I think I have somewhere around 379 subscribers. I'd love for that number to go up, and you subscribe to the YouTube channel, check out my videos. I put a lot of work into those
Yeah.
Bigfoot reports, Squatch Ranger files. And, I'd appreciate you just for the support, or you don't have to subscribe. Just go check out the channel and see if there's any content on there that you like. And I just want to thank you guys for inviting me. I'm so honored to be on this program. This is really, really cool that I got to be on here. I want to thank your listeners, all your viewers out there, and for the questions. And you guys obviously have established an awesome audience, and I think that's great and fantastic. I love the way you guys run your show. I love how organized you guys are. It's been really great experience for me, and I just love your attitudes. And I think we're in agreement on a lot of things on the Bigfoot community and stuff like that. And I love that you guys are both Christians, and you talk about that in your program and mention that, and I think that's great. So just thank you to everybody, and check out those social media that I have. If you're out there and you have an encounter, I would love for you to email me or contact me through any of those platforms that you said you'd pin on the broadcast, and I'd love to hear from you guys and any stories or encounters or reports. So thanks again, and it's been a pleasure, guys.
All right, Ryan. Thanks for joining us, and have a good night, man.
You too.
Larry, have you got any final comments?
No, I appreciate Ryan coming on here, sharing what he's experienced and his trek in this, community, and the knowledge he's gaining, the people he's surrounding himself with.
Yeah.
It's always good to hear from people like Ryan. And I mean, the community definitely needs more people like him that's humble and treats people well and all that good stuff. And it's just great to hear that new blood is coming in with that type of attitude. It's great.
Yeah, it's very encouraging. And I would just like to say that support Ryan. It don't cost no money to subscribe to someone's YouTube channel, and it would mean a lot to him. He's, like I said earlier, he's got almost 100 videos on there, and I really like his website with the Class A Bigfoot sightings database. And so there's a lot of great stuff to check out from Ryan, and I will pin that at the top of the comment section. All you got to do will be just click on it and go straight to it. And also check out the NCRP and check out the NoBro sites, because it's great stuff on there, and we can always learn from others. Beast TV would like to welcome all of our new Facebook members. I just about say it every week. Shelly is busier than a one-legged man in a kick fight, and she has had to add Spencer with helping her. There's so many people contributing to this page. I think about what Bama Murdoch has taken upon himself, and so we just want to thank all of our new members. There's a wealth of information that you may find interesting, and so we've got protocols. Our page was started in helping people analyzing audio, and so if you would be interested in learning how to do that, then we could certainly use your help. We want to thank all of our new subscribers and our faithful followers. Also, be sure to check out our field evidence videos and check out our sister channel, Beast of the Woods. That's Larry's channel. We do these podcasts and videos for you. So if you want to help us out, subscribe, click the like button, ring the bell, leave us a comment. It really helps us with our YouTube recommendations. And Larry and I would like to thank Sally for sending us the questions from the chat room tonight. And thanks to all of our moderators for keeping our chat room kid-friendly. Thanks again to each of you for watching, and we will see you again. Same bat time, same bat channel. Night night, footers.
This has been a Sawdust production.